Hello, friends, and welcome to this is not Solar Prizes. This is something a little different, and I actually saw the need because the need to actually do this because I'm always getting a lot of calls, a lot of messages and stuff, and one of the things that I actually realized is many people don't actually know some of the things that we're actually talking about, and I'm going to get to some of those things and at a jiffy. Um, but when it comes to solar, I think one of the things that I really want to do is be one of those people that would really help you to understand some of the basics and some of the things that you really need to understand. And you know I've spoken to people and I realized that even the most people that act like they understand it sometimes still don't really understand it. And so it's going to be more of like a series, like a series of conversations. It's not just going to be now. So um, during this presentation I can decide to stop at a point so that you can take it all in and understand what it's all about, really. Because yeah, it's something that concerns you. It's something that it's a major problem, especially when it concerns power. And this is that period where everybody is going out there. One of the things that we've been hearing lately is that the national grid is down, and it's not just that fuel prices have gone up. I was talking to someone recently, and he said he came to Nigeria for a month, and he spent over 2 million naira on petrol petrol for the amount of time that I was going to use in Nigeria. So, 2 million naira is a whole lot. That same 2 million naira can actually be, put into renewable energy, and it's going to actually do something, for you. Even if it's not going to do basically do everything, but it's actually going to still like at least meet some of your needs, not like extremely, but to an extent. So, let's just go back to the basics. And the reason, and I've titled this, What's Your Budget? What's your budget for solar, really? What's your actual budget for solar? It's a very, very funny topic, but, I'm going to be going into like dive deep into, how, what are the prices? What can you actually get for what you have? Some of you have like, a certain amount, and, I'm going to be going into deep, deep, deep down into what you can actually get in the market, for now. So it's not solar prices in the actual sense, or let's just say it's another subtopic, like a subtopic of solar prices in the actual sense. But this one goes down deep into the basics, into like what we're really doing. Because yeah, I get a lot of people that tell me solar prices have really helped me, because there's always like details of and details and details in there. Yeah, and some people still feel like it's a lot of jargons, like they don't understand what is actually happening or what is being said. So we would go into some of those details. And I thought, this is the first video, so I thought, let me explain it. Let me, and I can always refer you back to the first video so that you can get an idea of what it's actually really all about. So, like I said, it's going to be in series, and we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of stuff. And this is where you can get to like ask some, some basic, like basic down to the earth questions, because I want you to understand it. And I know the power of media. I know how much this can actually go. I know where this can actually go. Um, for someone like me that is a YouTube person, I've received so many messages, and I've received good messages. I've received bad messages. Good comments, bad comments. I'm not that it moves me, but I think I just really realized, and I've come to that place where if I'm helping a few people, then that's fine with me, and I'm really good with that. All right. So, what's your budget for solar? So, I'm just going to be taking you through some of the slides that I have. It's easier for me to go through slides because uh, I always mumble jumble some of those conversations and not really have it's better for me. I'm not like most YouTubers. I'm not the talkative type. But when I go to slides, it's easier for me to like get um, a good grasp of what I'm actually talking about, and explain it well to you guys so that you can actually understand. Um, so you might see me reading through my slides. I'm not boasting that I'm the most brilliant person. I'm just saying, yeah, most times it's better for me to use these slides. Yeah. All right. So why talk about a budget? And so let me run you through a story, a very short story. And when I was actually putting this up, a story actually came to mind. So I'm just going to tell you. So when I newly got into renewable energy, one of the things that happened was, um, yeah, I started working for a company, for a very good company, one of the best in Nigeria, and I was sent to for um, this live program that was going to be that was happening somewhere. So the idea was to go there, take notes, see, hear what is actually being said and stuff like that. And I realized that when I got there, um, the conversation went on, and they were talking and they were speaking, saying a lot of stuff, and somehow I was in that space. I was in the renewable energy space, but I didn't understand one thing that was said. Like, yeah, I took notes, but I can still look back at the notes today and be like, no, I like, yeah, I can look at it now and kind of understand it. But as at that time, I was already in renewable energy for like 2 years, and I went for this thing, and the entire conversation, I didn't understand one thing that was said. I'm sure they were talking about great power, many things, especially in the Nigerian context and stuff like that, and somehow I didn't understand it. So that's what actually brought about this this um, um, this topic right here, because I realized that you can speak a lot of things, and what people will actually come to, the conclusion of people will actually come to, is that it's all jargon. They can't really understand what is being said and stuff like that. And I know, because I've actually been there. So that's what's actually motivating me to actually do this. And yeah. All right. So let's go back to the basics. What are the primary solar equipments? We have the solar panels. This is what you see on the roof most of the time. It's what you know the sun hits the solar panels, and when it does, it produces DC power, and that DC power is what you use to charge your appliances. And sometimes, in most cases, you can use that same power to power um, your DC loads. And with the solar alone, you cannot use just basic solar. You have to use some sort of converter, or you have to use some sort of appliance that uses DC, that can actually communicate with the stuff very well and stuff. So that's why we have like many other equipment. So it's not just the solar panels alone. I've seen people say they just want solar panels and that's enough for them. And I'm like, okay, what do you want to where's the converter? What do you actually want to power? And they say, well, my TV, my this, my that. They say, solar cannot do that for you. Solar is not like that. Um, solar is a means to an end. So it's one of the equipment that you need to actually get, what you actually really, really need to power your appliances. It's just one of the equipments. So what happens when the sun hits it is that it transfers energy down to a source, down to another source. So the source can now be the battery, can now be like an inverter or something that that now converts that to like AC power that you can actually now use and stuff like that, or if it's DC power and stuff. All right, so we also have batteries, which is one of my favorite. So batteries are like water tanks. I've explained some of these things in time past. They're like water tanks. They store your power. They store the energy for you. So if you have power from solar, for example, the batteries is where the power is going to be stored for later consumption, so that for later use. So let's use the water tank for example. You store water in it over time, and when the water is actually filled up, or it gets to a certain point, you can now reuse it. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like some sort of reservoir. You can now reuse it when you actually need to. And the inverters actually do. So the inverters are converters. So it converts. That's what helps you to convert that DC power. The DC power that you're getting from your solar panel or from your battery is what helps you to convert it to AC power. So AC power is what you originally use in your house for your appliances and stuff like that. If you use DC power, it's not going to power it because that's not what it's made for. But with AC power, you can actually power those essential loads, those essential appliances and stuff. And charge controllers, your charge controller is for your solar panels. You'll find that most inverters, you'll find that they have the charge controller in them already. So they call that the hybrid inverter. So it has a combination of the charge controller and the um, DC to AC conversion. So that's the hybrid inverter. So for the charge controllers, what they actually do is they help you to process the amount of voltage and current that is actually coming from the solar panels, and they process it down into your battery. So it's like it controls the charge. It's like a system that actually helps you to control the charge. So when it's full, it helps you. It stops charging so that the battery does not get damaged and stuff, and so many other things. All right. So more primary solar equipment. It's they are still in the primary side, but they are not as primary as some of the things that I just mentioned, and because these are also very very important. Sometimes you can get a quote from an installer, and you are like, why am I seeing mounting system? Why am I seeing some of these things? Like, why am I seeing these things? Is it not just that I'll just so those things don't connect themselves. They're not like Wi-Fi connected. They need like a bunch of other things to, actually make them work. And I don't think we'll actually get to a point where there will be like some radioactive connections between some of those things. Then you just switch on your appliances and there's no connection on your inverter or anything to your house and everything. I don't think that time is ever going to come. But these are some of the other things that that solar actually has that you want to actually look at. The mounting system. So the mounting can be for the solar panels. So the solar panels will not just sit on the roof and that's just the end of it. So they can slide off if you have a steep roof, and you want to have a mounting system to mount the solar panels on there so that they don't shake or they don't move, or when the wind blows, it doesn't just blow them away. So you have mounting systems. The mounting system can be for the battery system. It can be for the inverter. So most inverters, you'll find that they are mounted, in the house, and on top of, on the wall or something, and somehow that's more good, better access, to the system in a way. So most times you won't want to like have them like just stuck somewhere where you can actually eat your leg. So it's better to just put them like mount them on the wall or something. So it's you have more space and stuff. And cables and wiring. There are many more mounting systems, many more things that needs to be actually be mounted to actually make your stuff work very well. So cables and wiring, very very important. That's how you connect from the inverter to the battery, from the solar panels to the inverter or to the charge controller or to the batteries or anything. So you need cables for many of these things. And most of the times, we mention the prices of some of these inverters and batteries and solar panels, but we don't mention the price of some of these cables. And many times the cables are also like pretty really 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 expensive. I was talking to a client recently, and somehow it's very negative, very very negative explanation actually. So somehow, some guys went to his house and they stole all the cable he just finished building the house, and the guys went in there and stole all the cable. And somehow it was very tiring for him. I'm sure that he was not very happy and stuff. Um, yeah, because those things are very, very expensive. In case you don't know, cables are very expensive. For I think the last one that I saw for a roll of solar cables was around 100 and something, 100 and something thousand, and that's like I can't really tell how many meters now. I don't think it's maybe 80 meters or something. So for solar cables, and that's like maybe like the 6 mm or like it's not up to the 10 mm. So The higher the gauge of the cables, the higher the price of the cables actually. So those are some of the things that you actually want to look out for. And I've seen, people compromise on those things and it eventually becomes a problem. So that's where you have fires and stuff like that. You can't go and put normal AC cables inside to connect solar panels. So I've seen this, this one strand AC cables. You just guys will just like use that and just connect it to like the inverter, and because it's not built for it, you get sparks, it gets hot, it eats and everything. Then eventually the stuff gets, you will start to see fires, and they're like, what really happened here? You just got a bad installer, someone that does not. You got a Camaro. You got a Camaro. Like a Camaro is that one guy that does basically everything. He's a bricklayer. Is a um he's an electrician, he's a plumber, and now he's your solar person. And we actually got this from Dr. Solar. So does Dr. Solar call him Kamoro? I'm not very sure. Why? I should know that. Oh, sorry to every Kamoro out there. If your name is Kamoro, it was just an illustration. All right, so disconnect switches and fuses. So you actually also need this. This is how you disconnect the solar if there are issues and stuff like that. The fuses for cases where you have like little issues and stuff like that. They are just going to like cut out so that it doesn't totally affect the stuff. So these are like your protection places, the disconnect switches and your fuses. This is what you use to disconnect the solar and stuff. They are very important. I can't just stress how important they are, but it's not something that you should joke with. They are very important for you to have these connections and stuff like that. If anything is wrong, you can just go there and disconnect. It's very important that you have things like that. Fuses, so that when fuses and breakers, when things happen, they just cut off. And it's always right to get the best size for some of these things and stuff. So as you can see, some of like the equipment that I'm actually mentioning, it's it should help you understand, where we're actually going, to help you get a full idea of what the budget is actually going to look like. A budget for solar is actually going to look like. So you don't just feel like, when you get some of these quotes, you don't just feel like you're being cheated, so that you can get an understanding that, some of these things are actually very important, and a good solar installer might be expensive, but they are very needed. They are very needed, in that space, to give you, you know, a quality job, something that is quality that you can use and there are no issues, especially if you have your kids around and stuff like that. It's better to have lots of safety and protection and stuff like that. And it's also very good, if you have kids from like 15 years and stuff like that, to teach them some of these things so that if there are issues and stuff like that, they can resolve it without any help. But one of the things that people get scared of is that solar shocks and stuff like that. It doesn't at all. If it's properly grounded, that's why get a good installer. If it's properly grounded, if everything is cool, as long as nobody's touching cables and removing anything from there, you don't have any issues. You can touch the surface of the solar, the surface of the inverter. You can touch the surface of the battery. I've gone as far as touching the terminals of the batteries and stuff like that. They don't shock, but people's fear is that you might shock and stuff like that. But you can service them, you can maintain them yourself. You can, if there are issues, you can put them off. If you are going out, you can put them off and stuff. And one of the things that I've noticed again, people hearing some of the sounds coming from the inverter, some of them might just be low battery, and they feel like, and it has this very scary sound, like beep 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 beep, and someone calls you and like, my inverter is about to blow up. No, it's not. It's not about to blow up. It's just, you know, um, it's a warning tone most of the time, and I've heard that a lot. So, Konde, I'm hearing this sound from my inverter. Yeah. Call your installer. What happened to your installer? What happened to the person that installed for you? Call the person. That why me? Why am I the one that has to go through it? Well, it's always really nice. I get to learn from it. And yeah, such protection and grounding, like I said, very important, for your setup. And grounding sometimes might entail, some other equipment, many other equipment. There's one that goes like into the ground that you have to actually get such protection just in case, there's lightning and stuff like that, or there's a surge of power and stuff. It's what protects, your solar panels, your inverter, and charge controllers, and many of all those other things. They are all basically all connected. It's very important that you get protections. All right, and we're almost getting to the end of this actually, because like I said, it's an actual series, and it's not something that would just do all at once. So I'll just take one and two of this, and the next video we're actually gonna be talking about the rest. I can see it from here that I've almost used, like, I've used some time already, and because I want to break it down in bits and pieces. And please, some of these words are very, very important. I've noticed that some of you say you watch the videos, but you don't watch till the end. It's very important that you watch till the end. Maybe I should have said this at the beginning so that some people might not have jumped off, because it's very, very important that you actually watch these videos to the end. And I'm going to keep doing this, and let me know what you think in the comment section, so that you can have materials for any time. You are new in renewable energy. I meet people that are going through renewable energy like every single day, and many times you need some of these materials. And it's important that you're hearing from a Nigerian person. If you're a Nigerian person, I mean, that's one of the problems that you guys have most of the time. You are listening to them, Joe Garcia. You're listening to Prowse and stuff like that. Listen to a Akonde that is in your Nigeria. I beg. Thank you. So, power alternatives to the grid. These are some of the things that you want to actually look out for. The first one is solar, like we are talking about. Solar is like a combination of so many other things and stuff like that. Because I've heard a lot of people say, what are the alternatives? What are the things that I can get? You can see the list here already. It's nothing I'm hiding from you guys. I'm sure I know there's way more than what is actually here, but trust me, these are some of the things that you can actually look out for, that you can. So it's not just solar, there are many other alternatives. So solar, where you have your solar panels, you have your charge controller, you have, or an hybrid inverter, you have an inverter, you have batteries, you have all the connecting cables and everything, the mounting, and so many other things. Then you have your inverter and battery backup. So what most people do most of the time is they don't get solar panels. So, and that's not a bad thing at all. So if you have grid power, that's power from NEPA and stuff like that, you can actually use that alone. So it can just be the grid power alone to just charge your batteries. So what you just have is like an inverter and battery backup system. So when there's power from NEPA or generator, it charges the inverter. It charges the battery, and when the power goes off, you can actually use that backup from your battery. I said this is like a reservoir, so you can actually use the backup from the battery and power your appliances, your loads, and everything that you have in the house, all right, or in your office or in your business or anything. All right, so I think I can quickly just run through this. And there's wind power. Wind power is like the wind turbine. I'm sure you see some of those things that look like actual fans. They spin around and stuff like that. That's another alternative that you can actually get. With that one, you don't actually need solar panels. The wind turbine itself is what propels the power. It keeps moving, and when that happens, power is being generated, and it's the same thing that you have in a solar panel. It's not just one entity. It's a series of other entities to make one thing. And you can get like the wind. You use wind power to actually get. But in Nigeria, we don't actually use that a lot. And I've seen use cases where people use them, but I've not. It's not something that you can really find, because it's way more expensive than solar. And I think it's just better, because if you're now getting a bigger one and stuff like that, it's way more. And there's biogas generators. Biogas is waste. That's where you have like your waste and everything. So the waste is what is actually used to generate the power. So in the case of, it's like uh, using a generator, for example, the way you have fuel. So in this case, you use the waste stored waste over time. So it has like it begins to form like some sort of gas, very strong gas that can actually be used to power, you know, many other things. I've seen use cases where they were used to power, light up gas, like if you have like a gas for cooking and stuff like that. It can also be used. You've seen gas for actual generators. So this one also can also be used to power your appliances and many other things that you actually need. So um, I think that's basically it for today. I have some other things, but I'm still going to be building up on this so that you can get a clear understanding of what we're actually talking about and you can know what the actual budgets that you can actually go out for is. I'm sorry if you listen to this to just hear some of the budgets and stuff. Um, I will say be patient, all right, and let's take this little by little, and we are eventually going to get there. All right. Thank you so much for listening. I'm truly honored. If you watched to this point, you are a real OG. You know what it means to be an OG? I should raise two hands for you. Actually, you, you are a real OG, like seriously. And um, you must realize is that I'm not. I love having these conversations actually, and helping people and helping you to actually get a clear understanding of what we are doing here. Um, don't go and insult your installer by telling him that he's a cheat or he doesn't know what he's saying. Most of the time they do know what they're saying. They are very good. You know. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. I'm truly honored, and my name is Akmodola Wadi. Cheers.